Hello everyone, Tina here. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you so much for joining me. Well, today I'm excited. I get to share with you a brand new stamp set to the Gerda Steiner Shop. It just came out yesterday. Super adorable and perfect for summer. It's called Catch a Wave. It has a cute little image of a ducky who's wearing some flashy, well, I'm going to make them flashy, but they're sunglasses. And there's some surfboards and a little sign that says beach and cute little sentiments. One says catch a wave, the other one says stay cool. So we're going to ink up our images with Memento Tuxedo Black ink, and I stamped them out. I'm going to zoom in and do a little bit of coloring with my Copic markers. Now I left the caps out for you guys, but while I color I will play a little bit of music, and when I'm done coloring I will get you back. Okay, coloring is all done. Now I wanted some bright colors. I wanted to make a nice and summery card, so I chose some pinks and greens, and of course it goes with the little yellow there. I'm going to fussy cut each one of my little elements out, and you can see on the bottom of my surfboards and my little beach sign, I left a little bit of area. This way I can tuck those in my sand that we're going to create. Now I thought we'd add a little bit of flashiness to our little ducky sunglasses, and so we are going to ink up just his face and stamp with my watermark ink on some silver mirror cardstock. I'm going to go over my stamped image with my white embossing powder, and then we're going to take the heat gun and melt that embossing powder. After this is nice and melted, I'm going to use my scissors and fussy cut out just the glasses, and I'm going to go around the white edge of the glasses. And then after we have it all fussy cut out, we have it right here. I think it looks super adorable. I'm going to add some foam squares behind each one of the little lenses, and then since we have our ducky sitting right here, we might as well adhere our glasses to the ducky. Now as I adhered them, I thought the more I looked at it, the more I thought they looked like goggles. And so they could be goggles, but I don't think you're supposed to surf with goggles. Well, I guess I don't know. So I thought I'd fix that by adding a little bit of color to the rim of my glasses, and I think it helped a little bit. Okay, now we're going to work on our background panel. So I have a piece of post-it note tape here. It's a 2-inch roll that I use, and I want 1/2-inch strips. So using my paper trimmer, I'm going to trim 4 1/2-inch strips. I think this is the best way to cut strips of post-it paper, or you could use masking paper if you wanted, but I find this is a little bit more cheaper. But once my little strips are trimmed down, I have a panel that I cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch, so it's going to fit my entire card front. And I'm taking my little 1/2-inch mask and going around each edge of my panel here. The cardstock that I'm using is Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock. We're going to ink blend our background, and I think Strathmore Bristol Smooth blends so nicely. Okay, I'm going to take another piece of Post-it tape, and using my scissors, I'm going to create a little beach wave here, and I'm going to keep the top portion and the bottom portion. With the top portion, I masked it off on my panel, and then I'm going to bring in some Oxide ink. I'm bringing in antique linen, and just using my blending tool, I'm going to cover that bottom portion, and this is going to be my little beachy area. To give it a little sandy-like texture, I'm going to use my water bottle and add some water droplets. Just dabbing off the excess water with my towel, and I think that looks great. We're going to remove our little mask here, and then we're going to work on our little cloud. I wanted the horizon line between the ocean waves and my sky to be a straight line. So that's what I'm doing with the top portion of the mask. Now for my sky area, I'm bringing in a cloud stencil and some tumbled glass Distress Oxide ink, and we're just going to do a little bit of shading with the cloud stencil. So this background is going to have 3 different layers. You're going to have a little cloud, then you have the horizon line, and then below this is going to be our waves, and then you have the brown on the bottom that is our sand. I flipped my little Post-it note over, masked off that horizon line, and then I'm going to take another Oxide ink. This is Peacock Feathers, and then I have a wave stencil. And if you guys are interested in the stamp set or the stencils, I'll list them down below in the description area in case you're interested. But we're going to add some shading with some peacock feathers. I did it really heavy on the first wave, and I'm going to lighten it up a bit on the second wave here. There's 4 different sides, 4 different wave styles on the stencil, and I'm using the same wave style, but I'm just shifting my stencil to the left and to the right to get a little variant on the waves. I thought the waves were the perfect size for my panel. Okay, once my waves are done, I'm going to take my little Post-it note mask and place it over my sand. Now I didn't go all the way up to the line of my sand. I left a little bit of the sand in the ocean waves. This way I can take my blending tool and my peacock feather ink and go over it. That way the transition between the ocean waves and the sand is a little bit more seamless. I'm going to take the horizon mask that we use for the sand, place it on the very top, and then I'm going to add my stencil over my cloudy area because we're going to do a little spraying with some Sparkle Shimmer Spritz. I'm just going over the waves. I wanted to give it a little bit of a sparkly tone. I'm going to dab off the excess with my towel. And so it added quite a bit of texture, and it actually took a little bit of the definition away from my little waves. So we're going to fix that in just a little bit. But I'm going to remove all my little Post-it note tape, and you can see I have a 1/2 inch border around my entire panel, and I have my little 3 layers for my background. Okay, here's where I'm going to take my stencil, and just using the ink that's left over on my blending tool, I'm going to go around the very bottom of each of my waves, just redefining those layers. And it kind of just really brings them to life when you do this. Okay, lovely. I think that turned out great. I'm going to take my Misty here, my mini Misty, and stamp my sentiment with VersaFine Onyx Black ink. I stamped the sentiment that says "Stay cool," and I stamped it right above that horizon line. And I thought we'd add a little bit of sparkle to our waves. I mean, it has a little shimmer, but why not add a little sparkle too? So I'm using my glue and going around a few of the waves, adding some glue there, and then I'm going to bring in some coarse glitter. It's a chunky iridescent glitter, and I just put a little bit over the waves, and I'm going to tap off the excess, and so my waves are very sparkly, but it looks very dimensional. It makes you want to go swimming right now. Okay, after we have that done, kind of going to play around with our placement a little bit. And that little beach sign, I just wasn't flowing right for me. I just couldn't work it in my little scene. So I just set it aside for now. But using my little ducky as a guide where I want him to go, I'm going to take the same surfboard stamp it with my antique linen over my little beach scene. It's very faint, but it's there. And then using my craft knife as a guide, well, the stamp as a guide, I'm going to use my craft knife and cut out a little slit in my little beach. This way I can tuck those surfboards in the sand. And I think that's going to look great. I'm going to take a foam square and add it to the very top of the surfboards. And then this way, the bottom portion of my surfboards are tucked in the sand, but the top are sticking out. Just gives me, since there's no layers on my panel, I thought we would add it with our little elements, our little stamped images. I did add foam squares behind my little ducky here. Placed it at the bottom of my little scene. And I think he looks so cute. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner and add it behind my panel. The glue with my glitter was still a little bit wet, but it was dry enough for me to adhere my panel to my card base. And I'm still trying to work in that little beach sign, but not for this card today. Okay, now I kept looking at his little glasses, and I wanted to do something extra for his glasses. So right after I'm adding a little detail with my white gel pen, I decided to bring in some stickles. Now stickles I usually use for my Christmas cards because of how glittery they are. They're just sparkly, and I thought we'd break them out and do the rim of my little ducky's glasses. We are gonna flashy him up. We're gonna give him some pizzazz. So I'm going around. We're gonna give him some Elton John glasses, and I think that was just the perfect touch. Just went around the rims of his glasses with my silver stickles, and that's my card for today, guys. I think it's a super fun summery card. Great for anyone, just because card. But if you're interested in anything you see today, there'll be links down below. I wish you a fantastic day. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. We will see you again real soon. Bye-bye.